Hello and welcome to the stream. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there hanging out. Today we're going to be diving back into Diablo 4. I haven't played this game in a little while, but because of some amazing people in this community, they've encouraged me to step back into it, and I'm a level 35 druid at this moment. If you guys want to join, just let me know. The top link in the description will get you into the Discord. We'll be hanging out, playing, chatting, talking MMOs. Lots going on. I'm still getting caught up. I spent the last several days down in San Antonio taking the kids to SeaWorld, and we just recently got back. So I was, I guess, a good boy. My wife's giving me some time off for good behavior and told me to go stream. I was like, well, there's some work stuff that I need to get done. There's some of this stuff that I need to be working on to get ready for tomorrow. She's like, baby, just go play some video games. So my wife is amazing. I appreciate her support. What's going on, Screw? What's going on, RSJ? How y'all doing? Codebreaker over on the Twitch. Thank you, sir. I'm glad I'm getting to sit down. I'm bummed that we won't be able to play. Hopefully, I always say that. Hopefully, my streaming schedule and content creation schedule will normalize a little bit here over the next couple of weeks. Got a lot coming up with Early Access Packs Day launching on the 18th. That is literally Tuesday. And then from there, we've got so much, like Dawn Trail on the 28th. I'll be playing and streaming that. I won't be doing the story, but I'll be leveling up the new job, at least from a Pictomancer perspective. I haven't decided. I think my thought is I'd do Pictomancer and Viper for controller guides. And if anything else needs a kind of a big refresh at that point, I'll play it by ear. I'm not fully committing to anything like that. So hopefully you guys hang out and have fun with that. Man, it's gonna be crazy. No Rest for the Wicked. Some big things are being teased. New World. Some big things being teased. So it's gonna be a fun summer. I need to get caught up on the Blue Protocol news that dropped on Friday. I was out of, like I said, out in San Antonio. And yeah, that's the intro for today's stream. Let's get into it because I want to hear what you guys have to say. Hopefully you've had a wonderful, fun day. Let's see, here's my controller. Oh, is it not the active window? There it goes. Active window now. All right, start game, baby.
It looks like
hey, what's up, Discord?
No, thank you. Happy Father's Day, buddy.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. How's it going, Val?
Doing all right.
All right.
Doing all right. Just playing some Cyberpunk.
How is that? How are you liking your playthrough of Cyberpunk?
I'm 300 hours in. Got the expansion, and
Nice.
it's like everything good about the base game has just been like refined down to a much more tight experience.
Yeah.
Where the combat encounters are harder and things like that, and it's just much better.
Nice.
So basically, you're 300 hours in and you hate the game.
No, I'm just chilling, man.
I like it. I like it.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
J fan says, what is New World like? Because it's coming to Xbox. I honestly love New World. I think New World is incredible when it's all said and
New World's
done.
good.
Yeah, and I think it's only going to get better. I think the complaints about their recent marketing is obviously one of the, like, I think that's fair, but also I think then you see the whole wave of New World, dying dead game. It's like that is what people like. It is so man, like juvenile.
I cannot say that it's dying or dead. It is.
There.
I mean, the issue I have with New World is, well, the main issue is right now is that there's no content for me to really like sink my teeth into.
Content is king. I'm gonna lower it down.
And like the content, and like I just hate their like I hate the fact that like there's seasonal story, which like I get it, like kind of makes sense that there is, but like,
the fact that they like
I just don't like the fact that
story that expires is by far one of the worst ideas that was ever generated in a meeting. Like, why? Especially story. You're like, okay,
Diablo. It's just like, why does it exist?
Yeah, I just
Junk says, what kind of question is that? Game's been dead for a while. Yeah, but it hasn't. It's just like that. That's been the meme.
It's not been dead for a while. It's been alive.
Dead means the devs have given up, and I think that question, when people have that mindset, it literally underscores what Amazon is saying. And it's they say like, well, EA gave up on it. And it's like, I don't think you want like Amazon's a different beast. Now, after 10 years, if the game's not profitable, yeah, it's gone. But one of the best thing they can do to give themselves as much cred within the gaming space is that despite that narrative, if they were like, we just kept making it, we kept supporting the game, we said we would, we did, and then the next game comes out that has, you know, nostalgia built into it, and people are going to go, well, they didn't give up on New World, you know, like, yeah, I'm going to give their new game a shot, you know. That's how the game is played.
I have a friend who's last I spoke to him, he was working for Amazon, and he said basically Amazon has a habit of trying things out for like 7 years. Just 7 years seems to be their trial period. And if after 7 years it doesn't work out, they shut it down.
Yeah, they're not Google.
So New World has at least like 3 years left, I think, right?
Yeah, but then you also have them following it up with the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Ring, like there are people who I hear them out, you know, who say New World's been a failure, which it hasn't been stellar, but it hasn't been a failure. And basically that they should be a publisher instead of a game maker. And I
don't know. I think you want to mix of both.
I see the point people are making, right? Because New World, I mean, a lot of people are poo-pooing it, that it's a shit game. I would disagree.
Oh man, it's really good.
I think it definitely has some edges that need to be smoothed out, that they haven't smoothed out, or I've made more jagged over time. But I think the base game in itself it's got a good solid foundation.
Yeah.
My issue is just, like I was explaining to someone in the Discord, that like it's been 3-4 years, right? They launched in like 2020.
Has it been that long?
It's been it's 3 years.
And they only have like 3 new weapons out, like nani.
No, it'd be 4 new weapons, because we got 3 in year 1.
Is that 4 different weapon archetypes or 4
different
weapons?
archetypes?
Okay.
4 different weapon wait, so they added the
Void Blade came in first, the Void Gauntlet.
The Void Gauntlet?
Yeah, followed by Blunderbuss, and then the Great Sword.
Great Sword, right?
And then we got the Flail. So
the Flail, right? Okay, I forgot the Great Sword. No, but there was another one.
Oh yeah, no, I get you the screw. Yeah, like I have no issue with people critiquing games and finding like, yeah, I'm not having fun with it. It's like, yeah, if you're not having fun with the game, set it down.
The reason I set it down like almost permanently is because of their implementation of seasons.
The content that expired, and I said that going into it. I was like, oh crap, when they were like, yeah. And it's like the seasonal stuff, and then it's like you don't get to keep your battle pass, and it's like why? When other games do that for me.
I don't mind seasons. I just don't like how they did it. Mainly the battle pass.
I think it could have been better. I think it could have been done better.
I think having a card that you have to fill out, I do not like that.
I don't mind like that, the card stuff that they have, like as a piece of content, but not the whole thing. You know, like if
I don't like the fact that in order to get levels in the battle pass, you have to you get very little from doing stuff in the world, and the card system is how you level up, and I just don't like that on the battle pass.
Oh, am I full up on stuff? Let's see here.
In regards to like seasonal storylines, because Diablo does this, Destiny does this, and I think I've said this before, you remember, like all of these are online service games. I don't know why they just can't have like an expansion, like a pack of like quests from like season 1 to 4,
or like,
you know, and then you can just download that if you buy it.
Or like, you know, you have a battle pass, right? And then you have like a seasonal story that's like, I don't know, $10, right? And it's $40 throughout the year, or whatever, $30 if you want to do it every 4 months, right? Like, I have no issue with that. Gets expense, and then, you know, at the end of the year, you put it on, you have a bundle that's like, I don't know, $20, right? Or whatever, $15 or whatever the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
That I don't mind. And then, you know, every so often they have a bundle that's like, I don't know, $40, right? Like, you buy the game and then like maybe $50, right? And the edition is like, you get the game and then all the seasonal content up until whatever the previous year.
Yeah.
Like, there are better ways to do it. That I'm just a schlub gamer, right? I'm just some random dude on the internet. I don't have game design or gaming marketing expertise, but like this stuff just seems like they're making faux pas. And
I mean,
weird.
From my perspective, right? It's like, yeah, it's what, £15 for me every 3 months. Not really expensive, but I'm like, bro, but I could just take those, 2 season passes and buy V Rising.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Last Epoch, and then I own that game. Or I could just buy the, it just gets to the point where it's like, I could just spend my money elsewhere. It's the same mentality with microtransactions at the end of the day. It's like, what value am I getting out of this? And if it's, oh, well, none, because it's going to be gone, then it's just like, I'm fine,
Well,
thanks.
I don't need that added pressure in my life. And so it's just like, okay, like, all right, what are we doing here?
Well, the model I like for that's Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
I like how they do their seasonal stuff. You can buy it, play it at any time you want. You don't have to buy it. You can still play the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the best models I've come across.
That was the Living World, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Living World idea.
What's really good to see with them, what they've been doing, is obviously continuing to add expansions, because expansions add, and Guild Wars, they really fail when it comes to marketing, in my opinion. Like, I feel like I never hear about it. There's not a lot of communication unless you're like, following the diehard dedicated YouTubers who have dedicated their whole channel to that game. You're like, oh, I didn't know there was an expansion coming out. It's like, yeah.
I heard about Guild Wars 2, like the game itself, from a friend of mine who happened to play it.
Yeah.
That's the same way I got it too. I had never even heard of it. Like, I had gotten pretty big into MMOs like over the past like 3 or 4 years, and he was like, hey, have you tried this one? I was like, no, I've never even heard of this one.
Right.
And I loved it. I fell full head over heels into that one. And
I couldn't get into it, but
I fell in
that's just me.
I thought they did a really good job with the story and like really making you care about the characters and like making it where you kind of remembered the names of characters in it. In MMOs, I usually never remember the name of the characters. Like, I guess I'd say the way I've been playing is just not really following the story quite as much, I guess, in others. Like New World, I guess the new way they have it getting done now might be easier, but the old way, I couldn't really keep track of the story too well. I had to go back and like try to figure it out.
Yeah, it's interesting because I see a lot of people, like, especially with Destiny, you saw like a lot of YouTubers come up with like, oh yeah, let me break down the story, because it's, it's all piecemealed across, a wide range of different, avenues. And so you've seen a lot of people being able to find success there, but it's kind of that also ends up being a curse if you're a lore YouTuber, because it's like people will tell you they want lore videos, but they don't want to watch them.
The worst thing about New World is that they don't. Because of a couple things they've done, it feels like they just don't care about the lore of their world. Like, they're willing to break it, and that bothers me.
Right.
So I was really into the lore of the game, and then they introduced an item and an ability, and I'm just like, this doesn't make any lore sense.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
the corruption's supposed to be like the worst thing, and then you're like, I'm harnessing the power of corruption. Yeah, that was
Dark Descent, which is like a corruption energy ultimate ability, which shouldn't be possible because you can't harness the corruption. And if you get corrupted, if you use corruption energy, you become corrupted.
Right.
So
we kill the first person.
But we're also a soulborn, so.
Yeah. What the hell's a soulborn?
Yeah, you kill one of the avatars of the corruption, right?
Yeah.
It's like one of the first missions you go after and do, and yet you're gonna be able to go build it anyways and do what you just killed another person for doing.
Right. And then, but the first instance of that really was a red flag to me was the Isabella Eyes Twitch drop.
Oh yeah.
I get it. It's an aesthetic. It's a skin thing. But if you're gonna make it a skin, at least make it lore accurate. And make it blue eyes instead of pink or purple or red. That
kind of
when
been-
they added that, that was an instant red flag to me. Like,
Yeah.
okay, they implemented this. This shouldn't exist.
I have been thinking about this
Oh.
quite a bit, Yimra, and especially the Dragon Age crap that's happened
Yeah.
recently with their new combat system. And it's like, one, I would say EA doesn't know how to market a game either, and neither does BioWare, so you're not alone there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the story of a game is genuinely its soul, but the gameplay and how it feels and how it looks is genuinely its body. If the body can't do what the soul requires, it just rots, and that's where you see a lot of the bitterness. And it's like you're just compromising the product at the end of the day for what is effectively a touristy audience and not the main fan base, which probably is a much larger portion of your revenue than you could probably think.
Well, you have what is it? The plague of tourists, right?
Yeah.
Who come into your game and say, "Oh, this is our space now," and it's just like, dude, we've been here all along. Where the fuck have you been?
Well, I guess that's where you see a lot of people were worried about adding in the consoles. It's like, oh man, we've just been putting in the time, and it's like I've gotten a lot out of my time with New World. I think I've gotten my money's worth 10 times over.
I mean, I have almost 1,300 hours in the game.
He's got me beat.
I think I have just over
my
1,000. Yeah, I think I have just over 1,000. Like it's money worth it.
Right.
know
You
what I mean?
think
Yes,
40 bucks,
I just
1,000
keep
hours?
playing
Man, that's a hell of a deal. Like,
Yeah.
40 bucks, 1,000 hours. Like, holy crap.
Cents,
that's
cents on the hour.
Yeah.
But I've never argued that, and I also tell new people that have never played it, if you haven't played this game, don't play this game. It's a really good game. It's just I'm at the point now that I don't have.
But I'm
any content
curious.
to really get
I'm
on and
curious as to the changes they've made.
Yeah, it's going to be really
console,
interesting.
But I'll be tuning into your channel, Brian. For
I'll
that
have
stuff.
I'll have some news on some of that. I can't share what I know, but I will share at some point. And it
I mean,
is,
you can be vague,
and it's,
right?
yeah,
Like,
I'm intentionally
is it
being
better
vague.
or- Is it better, worse, or the same? I'm pretty sure you can answer that question.
I'll let you know when I know. I'll let you know when I know.
No, I know, but like,
It's like-
give me a drift.
What features of New World would you classify as being new, coming from New World, and have they doubled down on those?
I think
Have
it's
they
just
removed
the
those, simplified
ambiance.
them?
I think it's the ambiance of New World. Like, New World sucks you into its world, and that's where it's like they need with the fact they're bringing in the like they brought in sharding, and I think essentially what we're gonna see with the expansion or the update is that it's literally going to be where you can just play.
New
Like,
World?
just send you to a server, and then you have maybe a home server, but like I was like, if they make people wait in line, don't launch on console until you have it down where it's like people can literally just play. Now, Zula, what's up? Says New World's crafting sounds have no right to be that good with 5.1 surround. It is so chill. Same thing with The Gathering too.
Dude,
like,
It's so chill.
New World, hands down, has the best sound design of any MMO I've played.
and that's going to be what's going to be
It's
absolutely wild
hands
when a
down.
lot of the console player base gets to
good.
step into this and they're like, wait, what? And it's going to be interesting to see. Now, New World still is always going to be operating with one hand tied behind its back because there's no nostalgia that people are going to have for, the game. And
new
it's just-
IP, yeah.
yeah, so it's like it's always going to kind of have that difficulty in not being able to capture nostalgia. Same thing with PAX Day. PAX Day is going to end up having some of the similar struggles because it's not like everybody's like, oh man, I've been playing all the PAX Days, etc. And it's just a fact of human gaming psychology. Like, in the tough times, you lean on nostalgia. That's how Nintendo exists, right? Like they can.
fan asks, what is New World about?
So New World is, as they're marketing it, an action RPG, but it's an MMO action RPG. But it's set with this open world that allows for, like, obviously faction warfare to try and capture zones. So it's a blend of the sandbox MMO and the theme park MMO. Now they've leaned heavily into the theme park.
What they're asking
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
like, what's the story?
Essentially,
I think
you are taken to an island of eternity where people don't die, and that ends up causing some kinds of problems because as people die and die and die again, they can become corrupted, and corruption is a bane on the island, and it is, in a sense, trying to take over and escape the Eternal Isle and head out actually into the real world. But the Angry Earth, who are angry, put up a veil around the island, thus making it hard for anybody to get on without dying, and making it impossible for anybody to get off the island.
So it's the Celtic afterlife, effectively.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, basically you find out later in the story, the original story, that the tempest that surrounds the island, which is it's really a continent, I would say, not so an island.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be like an alternate history of like America, basically, is what I get at it, right? It's like an alternate world,
Right.
like a historical fiction, basically.
Historical fiction. Yeah.
And you basically find out like the storm that encompasses the island that basically shipwrecks anyone who comes to and prevents anyone from leaving, basically is containing the corruption that is basically trying to escape, and shenanigans ensue. So,
some people that have lived so long go insane because they can't keep track of the thoughts in their brains and stuff like that.
right.
I was just grabbing any kind of quest, so
like,
focusing on the MSQ.
Yeah, and there's a magic that prevents people from dying.
Yeah.
Technically, at least. But they don't know, like, but no one knows what it is, or like the ancients apparently knew, but we don't actually know what it is. So
it just comes off as like Albion from like Arthurian legend.
Yeah, Arthur is there, you know, so
there are a lot of mythical characters, like characters of legend that exist on Eternum, in the past they disappeared, and it turns out they all wound up in Eternum.
Ah, okay, because Albion is the Isle of the West. It's a moving island.
Yeah, like there's like it's canon that basically King Arthur and Lancelot wound up on Eternum.
Yeah.
Because you find like throughout the world, there are these little like pages from notebooks, and if you collect, they're scattered throughout the world, and but each region has their own. So when you collect them all, it kind of adds, it's a bit of a lore dump, a world building in terms of like you read all the pages and it kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Like
stopped reading them. There's too many.
Yeah.
So, I'm
and there's actually there's actually one or two pages that just don't exist in the game files at all.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Like I went looking for them and I couldn't. They don't exist. Like I think it's page 8 or 9 of like some book in one of the regions. I forget which one.
It sounds very modern fantasy in a sense of where a lot of studios do this. They'll say you are the Starborn, the Soulborn, the champion, the chosen one, and just because you are this person, you can subvert the laws of reality. And
no, you're not. Right. In New World, you're not. You're just some dude who gets commissioned onto a ship.
Right.
And you wind up on the thing, on the island. The captain of the ship almost kills you, but basically someone figures out, like, someone basically tells you to see this dude, and he's like, hey, you should safeguard yourself from the corruption and become like a soul guardian, a soul warden.
Soul warden, yeah.
Like me. And,
that's so long ago. Yeah.
And he basically is just like, you're no one special, and you become like a warrior among like, you become a guardian among like a group of guardians.
Right. You get that MMO experience as opposed to like where MMOs more traditionally have gone.
It's not like FF14 where you're the chosen one. It's basically a game where you happen to become special, like throughout the course of the story.
I'm kind of tired of being referred to as God's gift to the earth.
Yeah, no, that's dumb.
You are God's gift to the earth.
I think it's overdone a lot. I think at one point it used to be interesting, but I think now that because like it's so ubiquitous everywhere, it's just
Brian, I already know I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I don't need a game to tell me.
I don't need a game to remind me of that fact. Yeah. I can pretend to be a little bit humble from time to time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of that is a lot of those games are getting that because I mean they're just following that like D&D kind of format where everybody's the hero almost. I mean it's hard to branch away from that because people like it. People want
Honestly,
to be heroes.
do they like it? Because I saw that entire Dragon Age
I
trailer.
think single player. I think people who prefer single player games like it, and they don't like to be excluded from games that they don't like. So I always kind of like, oh wait, what's this? Rampage NB resub. They've been subbed for 5 months. Thank you, Rampage, for that support. Let me upgrade the member number count here to 94. I appreciate you, man. Boom, 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 baby.
The plot is overdone. Well, to be fair, the plot is very simple. I just happen to give you like a lot of lore.
Yeah.
The plot's really simple. You wind up on the island.
Bad things happen.
Someone tells you to get help from some dude. You get the help from some dude. He helps you out, and you try to stop someone from.
I think the real story ends up being like
the
stuff that players end up coming up with, and I think that's where like I enjoy seeing when kind of the players take charge and start making kind of their own. And that's a big part of the sandbox mindset, where if you look at the world, you get so much more, I think, from like player driven drama and story, and like, oh man, remember when we did all this together, and having those what I would call real moments, as opposed to like where games try to artificially manufacture those kind of moments. And I'm interested to see what I think there's a lot to be excited about actually with New World Tournament. I think they're making the right call. I think they just managed the messaging very poorly.
I'm vaguely interested.
I'll be more curious once we see how well it does on the console and if people actually start playing it again at like a lot more.
Yeah, it will be some interesting to see how well it does on console.
Gets dropped. Like that's
it's got to be followed up with
something.
some big content where it's like, yes, let's freaking go. And if they can do that, then I think that's going to build that momentum, because, and again, I still think and I hope that they're considering launching into something like Game Pass, because then you immediately remove another barrier for people. Because I think when it comes to Game Pass, the value that I see, especially as a content creator, is that it allows people to actually go play the game and not rely on a review score to decide if it's worth their time or money. Because it's like, oh, if you already have Game Pass, it's just added value. And if it isn't, it's a cheap way to try out a game rather than going all in. But I think when it comes to MMOs, that's why they're marketing it as an action RPG. It's like, it is still an MMO, but that comes with a whole set of baggage that a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't know, man. Does that mean I have to have a sub? Does that mean I have to do this? It's like, nah, man, just play the game.
I mean, people are very skeptical of MMOs in general, right? Because, like, I don't know, I guess MMO players are seen as like...
Well, we're cynics at this point.
Well, I think we're also unreasonable, because it's like, oh, I want this. Okay, game does this. Oh, well, I want that, but it's not perfect over in this one area. It's like,
it's like
dude,
the meme, right? Like that meme where it's like, hey, we want this, and they do the thing, and it's like, no, not that way.
Yeah.
Like,
that's because everybody wants it done right the first time.
Well, I think it's the best MMO lives in people's minds, and it's like, and no, like, there's not enough capital in gaming to make the perfect MMO, and so. And that's why, like, older stuff, like stuff that has decades long of content, where it's like the value is like, okay, maybe I sub to this game once, once a year.
Decades of content, like an IP that just is people recognize, right? Like New World, it's attached to nothing. Whereas, like SeaWorld when it launched,
like I don't think it's going to launch on Game Pass New Spin, but I think that should be something that would be really cool to see them consider doing. But I do know that the downside of it not launching on Game Pass is that when they do, or if they do bring it to Game Pass, you're going to see people use that as a way to try and beat up on the game. They're like, oh, game failed, that's why they brought it to Game Pass. It's like, no, they made their money, and then now they want more people, because guess what? Turns out they make more money, not from the box sale, but from players playing the game and having a fun time, and then checking out the store and the season pass. And it's like,
I was gonna say, they make more money from microtransactions.
And if they
microtransactions, right? They're not micro.
Yeah.
Right. And if they went,
There's no micro.
If they went with the Game Pass idea, they could even go with you get everything but Angry Earth. This way you can try the game out. They already have it separated.
Oh, and then buy the expansion. Yeah.
Could be free,
Yeah,
base
base game makes a lot of sense because and then it's like, oh yeah, go ahead and upgrade if you want.
I'm going to bed. Sun's up in 25 minutes. So
Whoa, dude!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get some sleep,
I
man.
got back home from San Antonio late, so yeah, this is a late night for me.
How many hours? How long is the drive?
I
from
could,
you to San Antonio?
Brian, if I was in charge, could make it probably in about 4.5 hours.
Okay,
Brian with the
how long was
family,
it actually.
it took us about 6.5.
Whew.
See here, we left at so we went to mass and then we
Especially
went.
with 6 kids. Whew.
Yeah, we went to mass at 10. Mass got out roughly around 11, and then we got home. Actually, yeah, so probably about 7. So we got home at about 6:15. So yeah, a lot of little stops of like stop licking your sister, and I'll pull this car over. Lord help me. All right, fine. I'm pulling the car over. Oh, now you're okay. Tough. Like I told you you're gonna be in trouble, so we're gonna pull this car over. And I'm like, all right.
Funny. Stop licking your sister.
Stop licking your sister. Stop.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
There's a game we play, me and my wife, where it's like, especially on long trips, it's like we challenge ourselves to see how long we can go before we let the kids have like screen time in the car, because we try to actively like restrict screen time outside of like a schedule.
That's
And
fair.
and so then it's like, yeah, we made it through Austin. We made it past Austin today, so it was like, all right.
Okay. It's funny. You threaten your kids. Do you want us to leave you in Austin? Just from what I know.
Drop them off at the mothership and be like, here, Joe Rogan.
I don't think base game
Make
is going
them
to be separate from
comedians.
Rise on console. I think it'll only exist like that on PC personally.
That's possible, yeah.
It's possible. I just don't know. I mean, it's also like, what is it? 4 or 5 months out. So
Yeah.
like,
Well, and that's the thing. It's like this is a good opportunity for anybody who's tired of the game to take a break. But I can tell you, the marketing and push behind New World Eternum will be significant. And gamers constantly forget how much marketing plays an impact on what they want to play. So all of a sudden, when you start seeing ads, when you start seeing your favorite XYZ content creator going like, I've been sponsored by that, but allowed to talk about this, it's like that's the game, and you're gonna be inundated enough to where you're like, you know what, it doesn't cost me anything. I'll see what all the hype is about, right? But it's not about how they launch; it's how they follow it. It's how they follow the launch, and then if they can with a big piece of content, that it's like, imagine, okay, you launch in October, and then by December, like, oh, by the way, yeah, new content, new dungeon, new this, new that. Like, oh, okay.
I mean, I would
I'll
like
stick around.
more.
I'll stick around, and then they follow it up again.
Weapons.
Yeah, I think so. And the fact
More
is that
weapons to grind.
they haven't announced any weapons with this release, so it's like,
Yeah.
can I fall down? Can I go?
And just like the what is it? Oh, I just lost it. Oh, the increase of gear from what was it, set to 700?
Going up to 725.
In order to craft your gear, you need that special like token thing.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
I think it's their way of trying to like slow down people just making that high gear. I think it's just another way.
Yeah.
It's just what they're looking
And
for.
it adds value to those who like, oh, I don't actually need this. Let me just put this on the market, like because it's like, oh, people, because they still allow trade. If it was like the only way you can personally get this is if you log in every day, and I hate that stuff. I hate when they're like, make it your chore. That's why I was like, the economy, player-driven economies solve a lot. They introduce a lot of problems, and the problem that people will introduce is no matter what, it will have this sense where people can easily point and say, this is pay to win, because I can get gold and I can go buy the best gear, and therefore I win, and it's like, okay, but the only option to get rid, away from that is to dumb down and make the system very, very weak. And it's like, I'm like, and maybe if you are worried about those kind of things, maybe you just don't like MMOs, and that's okay, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The Soulstone Chamber. Lilith has what she wanted all this time.
Oh, yeah.
She took the stone.
She took the stone.
No sign of Yorendo. We need to find him.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, man.
That was a good conversation with you guys.
Always, dude. Thanks for coming and hanging out, dude.
All right. You guys have a good night.
You too. Cutscene, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a cutscene.
Mighty Astaroth, the charred duke himself, confined to a cage.
RS families. I like MMOs. I do too.
MMOs are my favorite genre.
I have an offer.
Even though I usually play them, usually play them solo, but
I am no longer welcome.
Well, that's kind of the landscape has
listen.
shifted. I think one solution though.
no, as a solo MMO player, dude, I'm hated a lot.
Yeah.
Donan's project.
Like why do you play MMOs then if you played single player? I'm just like, I just like the games.
It's easy. You just get
The
on
games
and
are
play.
fun. It's
And if it doesn't force you into doing anything multiplayer, and if it does, then that loses out a huge audience. So it's like it's a curse, you know, in that same way. I think the solution in part would be if MMOs actually integrated with like services like Discord, because then you could end up like feeling like you're a part of the game and community and multiplayer, even if you're offline.
Yeah.
What the MMO needs to solve is why be a part of this MMO when something like Twitter gives you that same kind of vibe that an MMO would give you. You know, it's like, because there are plenty of people who
Twitter gives
shifted.
me a different vibe from an MMO.
Well, what I mean by that is that we've seen within the MMOs, a lot of the people who went there for that level of community or trolling or what have you, they shifted to social media, and social media has taken up a huge chunk of that. And I think what would help MMOs out is that if you can have that sense of community, something like Discord gives you, etc., that
Or YouTube.
exists outside of actively being logged in the game. If I was like, imagine if we had in our Discord a New World chat or a PAX Day live chat, and you can see what anybody's saying in game, and it's like, oh man, they're talking about a lot of stuff, and then you could reply in that chat even without being in the game and be a part of that conversation. And then it's like,
Cool.
yeah, and I think that would be something that would actually facilitate that, you know, that the community growth and that connection even when you're not playing, because the reality is we've all gotten busy lives. If you got responsibilities and things like that, imagine though constantly having that connection, and social media gives you that. I don't think MMOs give you that right now, and I think the solution is integrate with the things we're already doing. You know, I think Discord would be the most logical integration because it is a social media platform to a degree, but it has that focus with voice chat, with text chat, and that's something that I think would be really cool. And then ultimately, because it does show you what game you're playing, etc., it'd be like, oh man, I see, yeah. And then you're at work, and you're like, hey man, I'm heading home from work. I'll be back, and then and then you can just kind of be like, oh, I'm gonna go play with Brian or whatever. Like Halo does this really great. Like in Discord, I can /invite you into the Halo experience, and that's something that I think would be really beneficial to MMORPGs.
Yeah. Is this story or season content? Pretty sure this is MSQ.
This is MSQ. I haven't beaten the game. It's like
No,
I played it, and then Final Fantasy 16 came out, and then I was like, all right, that's what I'm playing now. All right.
Yeah, I stopped playing it. I was just bored, and I'm just like, when I'm rooting for the villain, I know something is wrong.
You're like, just end it all already.
Just like, well, no, like this is like one of those weird like modern things, right? Where it's like they're trying to make sympathetic villains.
Oh,
And it's
really?
just like, yeah, like there's a Bible quote that keeps getting tossed around among certain, like they're making villains like good and good characters villains. It's like this thing that's happening in Star Wars right now.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
just
okay.
like there's a Bible quote that says something along the lines of like, woe unto he who
Calls good evil and evil good.
Yeah, good evil and evil good, that sort of thing. And that quote's been making the rounds for the past like few months.
Yeah, it makes sense. I feel that's accurate.
And it's just like this happened like in the Rise of Skywalker, right? Like I was just rooting for Palpatine at the end.
You're like, just finish
to like,
these people.
can he win? Like, can create the new empire? And like the same thing was happening with Lilith, and I'm just like, this is not good storytelling. I'm rooting for the villain.
You've been following the latest IGN debacle?
Which one?
They were doing basically it's that Sweet Baby Inc. is been doing like extortion and then shakedowns.
That's
and we know that we've known this, right?
Yeah, we've known that.
And then beyond that though, then it's obvious that they've teamed up with these websites, right? And so the latest one is the Wukong game, and then they were like, no, they just rejected them, and then all of a sudden all these hit pieces start coming out across all of the pretty typical, now probably all under the IGN umbrella, all stating the same thing, and then it turns out that's off of somebody mistranslated something, and then it's like they didn't say anything of the sort, but.
Even if they did, I don't give a shit.
Well, even
as long
if
as they make a good game,
right? That's the only thing, though. Especially when it comes to like any kind of like boycott. It's like if the game's good, guys, the anti-woke crowd will promote that game if the game's good. Like
if there's anything we've learned from Blizzard, right? It's that players don't care about work conditions of the developers. They just care about the
Just make a fun game.
Whoa, what's going on?
What's going on, guys?
I'm getting a lot of static.
Getting a lot of feedback from behind you.
Oh, there ain't nothing going on back behind me. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, but yeah, and so then that's been interesting to see online. But it's like I remember when they were doing that about Final Fantasy 16. It's just like all these freaking all they are is these just hit pieces. And it's just like I think the good that's coming out of this year is a lot of people are just waking up to that, just how much BS has just been, shoved down our throats.
And here's what's weird, right? Is that they're complaining that these. So I've noticed this with Star Wars, right? Is that they complain about the thing. They complain about us complaining about the things that they complain about. Media not having enough of.
Yeah. Well, it's rules for thee, but not for me.
So like for example, right? Like this new Star Wars show, The Acolyte. It's a terrible show. Poorly directed, poorly acted, poorly written. The sets look cheap. And it's canon breaking and just it's a terrible show. It shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But it's been marketed as the most diverse Star Wars show in history. Like the most diverse Star Wars media in history. But people are complaining about the show being just bad, right? And
then you can't complain about this diverse show because that makes you
can't complain about
insert.
The thing is they're saying, well, people are complaining about the diversity of the show, and it's just like, no, we're not. That's not really it. That's the thing we're memeing on. It's not a thing we actually are taking seriously. That's that's
just
not
make a good
criticism.
show. Just make a good show. But
the thing is, if you take it from their perspective, well, what do they complain about? Oh, this show or this game or whatever isn't diverse enough. And it's just like, well,
or the right kind of diversity,
Right. I mean, everyone knows that when they say diversity, they just mean no white people.
or just like we've seen kind of with media and the idea of fatherhood, where it's like all the men are dumb as all get out. Oh
yeah, all the fathers.
Yeah,
my brother pointed that out to me a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, that's a good point.
All right.
All these fathers just are made out to be incompetent and stuff, and it's just like,
okay. No.
But I don't know. Haven't watched it yet, but interested in it. I mean,
I hope you like it.
I hope you like it.
I'm not, and the thing is with me, that's why you don't see me complaining about it, is I'm all right, I was always a casual Star Wars fan. I love Star Trek. That was kind of if you're what's better, Star Trek or Star Wars? Well, Star Trek, hands down. Absolutely different. But I was like, yeah, I enjoyed Star Wars, and then all of a sudden I didn't enjoy Star Wars, and I was like, all right, like.
Well, it's like like my aunt, right, had liked the sequel trilogy, and I'm just like, no. And she's just like, well, it was just the things they introduced were cool, and I was like, listen. And she's a huge Star Trek nerd. Someone's like, okay, listen, you know Spock, right? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, what would happen if something tragic happened to him, and basically she said like, oh, there was a story where his father got Alzheimer's, like Vulcan Alzheimer's, and like when he cried, it was just like one tear. And I was like, yeah, what if that instead of that one tear, he just broke down and sobbed? She'd be like, yeah, that would not be good. I was like, yeah, that's what they were doing to Star Wars. She's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
completed Act 2. Sweet. All right, I think that was Act 2. There we go, making story progress. Do I know if this is Act 3? Let's see here. Act 3. Okay, cool.
Scene 2.
Let's see here. Elections, social, clan, shop, game. Okay, cool. And then different levels of renown. Let's go out all the way out here.
I actually really want to play Last Epoch.
Last Epoch's fun. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the analysis about like, you know, the Acolyte, and I was just like, yeah, but it doesn't make me. I wasn't planning on watching it. I don't have Disney Plus, so I'm like, all right. And then it's like, all right, it doesn't make me. And I don't think I was going to watch it anyway, so I feel like I don't want to go out and just complain for the sake of it, because I see, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm angry about it. I'm like, no, I'm not angry about it.
I haven't
Like, whatever.
seen the whole thing, but I've seen enough, and I'm just like, this stuff is not. It's not Star Wars.
Yeah,
And like,
Is this any better?
a little
yeah,
bit.
it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. I went into the test and like I could hear. I don't know what program was doing it, but I could hear something.
Yeah, there was some like,
It sounded like a bunch of fans.
yeah.
Yeah. But there was nothing going on in my room. I don't know what it was. I just shut off all the that use the microphone.
Yeah.
Turned them back on and it stopped. So.
Well, welcome back. Thanks for troubleshooting the mic. I appreciate that.
Thanks for letting me know.
It makes the VODs and everything much. It reduces the amount of people commenting, going like, well, I was enjoying the VOD, but then it's like, you know, like all of a sudden it is like, yeah. I think I make a lot of really good like second monitor content, you know, where you just kind of like, you can just kind of listen to it. And so audio quality, like, and that's the same advice I actually give to anybody who's like, I'm going to do content creation. It's like,
Let's have a good mic.
invest in audio quality, and as you grow, invest in better audio quality.
Yeah. And it
Right.
it doesn't even have to be like a boom mic. It's just like the best headset mics I've ever used are Sennheiser.
Mm-hmm.
Like legitimately. That's the one that I use now. So
Yeah, the Blue Yeti I think is always a really good starter. What's up, the Nerd Pod? I just followed you on Twitter this weekend. You were awesome, thank you, sir. And then yes, we were chatting over. I didn't get to share the good news. I am now officially a GeForce Now ambassador. I got accepted into the program.
what took so
Oh
long?
heck yeah! What's that bring you?
Well, I get so I could, in theory, have them cover the cost of my GeForce Now, but I chose not to because I'm a little bit controversial when it comes to like voicing my opinion, and I believe I do so respectfully, but you never know. I'm sure I know I piss people off, and they try to cancel me from time to time. So I'm also a GeForce Now founder, which gives me a reduced rate on my Ultimate naturally that I pay for my own self. So what I opted into was getting a second GeForce Now account, which basically I'm gonna gift to my wife and kids so that they can then we can play more games together. Cool. You know, because that's like, oh yeah, we can both now be on GeForce Now, and you know, and be on separate accounts, which for me is kind of ideal. So yeah. I pay cool. I think $18 a month for the Ultimate, but that's as a founder rate. I think maybe it's $22, something around that.
The Ultimate is like $18 or $19.
Well, What do I pay? I pay something. It's like Founders gets a little bit
10,
of a discount, so
probably 10 to 15.
maybe 15. Yeah, I'm playing on GeForce Now right now. It's like, this is great.
So how'd the vacation go? Vacation was pretty good, huh?
Dude, we had a great time. Like, honestly, the biggest achievement was that we were able to take 6 kids to SeaWorld and stay there all day long. And that's also, like, that's with the baby. So the baby was a freaking trooper, man. So,
What's the baby?
1-ish, you know, so, a little over 1
months.
No, she's 1.
13?
April, so May, June. So, 14 months.
Right.
Yeah, so she was a real trooper. We had a lot of fun. Got to do some shows and some rides, and kids had a really good time. We stayed all day, and then art was closing down, and we left. And we were like, yeah, it was great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, if you can get that, that's the thing. Like the smart TVs are gonna do it. That's why, like, I like to kind of troll some of the PlayStation guys online, because they're like, Sony's not gonna bring our tentpole games day and date to PC. But Sony's also working on adding in their cloud streaming service to PC, and I'm wondering if that happens this year. And if it does, that's just day and date on PC, guys. Like, it's like, all right, you can sub to the PlayStation's streaming service, and there's your game. There's your game playing, and you're playing it on PC. Oh man, it's gonna be sweet, dude. Cloud is gonna it's not. I don't think it's necessarily gonna be the mainstream for everybody. But I think essentially it's going to be disruptive enough that you start to see just how the gaming landscape is just going to change dramatically. Is a troll towards Sony? No, I'm not a troll towards Sony. I'm talking the console fanboy. Same thing with the Xbox fanboys. They all thought I was on their team, and they're like, I'm like, no, I want games to be accessible. Like, that's like hands down. If when they announce Starfield's coming to PlayStation, I'm going to celebrate that announcement. When they announce whatever PlayStation game, if let's say they bring that Lego game to Xbox, I would celebrate that, because more people, especially on hardware that can run it, it's really weird, and it's going to become even more so weird as time progresses that you have a device that is a single-use device. Like, if you look at what's happened all the way back into like the 80s, where you had all these devices, and now we've condensed that into a device, but it does all of those things. Consoles have, what people argue and fight for feels like it's actually the opposite. They fight that, no, this console that I spent money on, I don't want, I don't want the reason why I bought it to go away. And it's like, well, I mean, shouldn't it be an option? Because these games can be played on your cell phone. It's like you're not thinking about this in terms of like how the landscape has already shifted. You're thinking about how gaming was back in the early 90s and 2000s, etc.
I was watching a video, or skimming through a video earlier tonight, about this game called Hit 2, Heroes of Interesting Tales 2. It's like a mobile, I think it's mobile console. MMO, and it's just like, the guy brings up a good point. He's just like, dude, this looks really good. Like, forget about the aesthetics and whatnot, but like the fact that like this game looks like gorgeous, like really good graphics and stuff. And he's like, I remember the days where I was playing what do you say, Snake on his Nokia phone. Yeah. Right. And now you can like freaking run this on a phone, like, and it's like legitimately good graphics.
Yeah, I think the problem is going to be is that as games become more accessible and are able to be played in more places, the games that don't offer that level of flexibility will start to feel like, why would I spend that money and go and do that? So it's like, it literally is just a matter that it's like, as like, yes, there's still going to be people who are going to want to play that tentpole game, but then if you're not pushing enough units, that justify the cost, like they either have to raise price or, which reduce the sales, or like, yeah, people are just, and the numbers showing that 67% of all the game time that is being recorded is in games that are 6 years and older. You know, it's
Yeah.
like that should be like a very concerning sign, especially where you're like, oh, because the thing is that I don't think it's a monetary issue maybe for a lot of people. Who knows? You know, I know, you know, there are people who definitely have budget concerns. There's been times where I'm like, I can't subscribe to this, you know, to Final Fantasy right now because I just don't have the money to do so. But beyond that, it's a time thing. What's up, Venom? Is Diablo 4 worth it? I would say so. I thought it was worth it back in the day. It's on Game Pass. So
It depends.
you know, if you like ARPGs, honestly, like one of the things stepping back into the game, like I'm having a good time. It's fun. Now, I would argue, and my preference is No Rest for the Wicked. Like No Rest for the Wicked in and of itself is just so good. But it's, you know,
It's worth it.
yeah, it's,
But for
you know.
me, Diablo 4 is not worth it.
Well, like, what if you just had it as a part of Game Pass? Like, it's not a pricey game now. Like, you sub to Game
bought
Pass.
it.
And,
I have
right.
it.
I paid
I
the
just
big
don't
edition
pay.
of it. Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, what I originally wanted to set out to do,
Yeah.
the game will literally not let me to because of how it's designed.
Okay.
So it's just like, yeah, this is dumb.
I think this is fun. This is fun, mindless fun, if that makes sense. You know, like I really enjoy kicking back. I feel like I'm not, you know, and again, I'm sure that like I could, you know, really intensify this, but yeah. Is it better than? I do feel like it is better than Diablo 3. I do, but the argument I don't think is with this game
like
and
Diablo
Diablo 3. I
3
think it's Diablo 4. I think it's Diablo 4 versus Diablo 2. Which Diablo do you prefer? And I think a lot of, you know, classic Diablo fans are happy with Diablo 2 remastered, you know, or you know, reforged or whatever they called it.
I know a lot of people resurrected, I think it's called.
Resurrected, yeah. I was like, it starts with an R.
I like Diablo 3 like a lot, and I do not like Diablo 4. But
There you go. You got two different opinions. Hopefully that helps out, Venom. How you been doing, dude?
I enjoy Game Pass. That's cool.
So Newspin says IMO, they need to stop charging for online play for consoles ASAP. If PC doesn't need to change the charge, then why do consoles? I think it's just a revenue stream. I would like for that to go away, but I just don't see that happening. I think that's part of what we're gonna see.
It is dumb. That was one thing I was like, when my friends got me a PS4, I was like, wait, I have to pay to connect to the internet? Like, what is this?
Yeah, when they started charging though, like I would say that the quality did absolutely improve, and I was hopeful that like when Nintendo started charging, that their online quality would improve, and unfortunately Nintendo didn't.
Nintendo's no. That's like a meme though at this point, right? Is there servers?
Yeah,
Nintendo servers.
well, and that, and it's just like, you know, there's a hardware issue I think when it comes to how they connect, because like it wasn't even until the OLED model that they had a built-in active, you know, Ethernet port. You know, it was all Wi-Fi, and I'm like, all right, and it's fine. Like I don't have issues with my Wi-Fi network, but
Whatever.
I would prefer a direct, like you know, when I play on PC, when I play on my console downstairs, like if I'm going to do anything long term, I have it hardwired in, you know, and then handhelds are all the wireless stuff.
Yeah, I got a cord that snakes its way into the hallway, into the modem.
Yeah, it's helpful.
The scholars of all.
I mean, also just like what I noticed is that my game, like my game is a lot more stable, or just like my internet is just more stable, being hardwired, and my internet speeds are faster.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know they like to
Waypoint,
finagle that Wi-Fi speed,
jeweler,
which is shenanigans, but whatever.
Yeah. Let's see, what do we got? Heal. Why not?
You won't find a better healer in all the steps.
Let me check our inventory here
Confused
real
but
quick.
happy to have the Ginger Crew.
Yay!
Oh, Blizzard owns some great IPs. They do. I think they should have, instead of Diablo, I think they should do like another Warcraft thing. Like, I don't know, make it like several hundred years into the future.
Oh yeah, I think if they decided to refresh That would be wonderful. Like,
not even like an MMO, just like, you know, take your IPs and just like do other games with them, right? Like make a Diablo RTS where you put the heavens against the demons, like, you know, and it all takes place on Sanctuary, and humans are caught in the crossfire, like, and set it like, I don't know, like 1,000 years in the past or whatever. Like, do that shit. That'd be cool.
yeah.
These aren't difficult ideas to come up with. Like, they already have the RTS stuff down, right? With Warcraft and then StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
I will
take that and just make it a different IP.
Is that Nanny?
real quick. Hello there.
Hey, what's up, dude?
I'm just quiet chilling.
How's
All the people who would have
what?
been on their RTS?
Oh, Nano, you are really quiet.
Company. Yeah, I think my mic reverted to whatever was going on with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
Hello?
Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
it did.
We can hear you.
But yeah,
Anyway,
all the
right,
RTS people from Blizzard left to go start an RTS company.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
okay.
And that's the thing. It's like there's one of the things when it's like, why can't they just go
I
make
don't know
this
if that's a
game?
good
It's like,
thing or it's
well, do they have the
unfortunate.
people who want to make that game?
That's the thing, and all their playtest stuff already, it basically looks like what they did with StarCraft. Like, it's basically the entire StarCraft 2 team.
Oh, okay. I mean, StarCraft 2 is unit heavy, isn't it? It's not like StarCraft RTS is all unit heavy, isn't it? Not so much like base building.
Yeah.
Depends on the faction you play.
Fair enough.
Like, for Terrans, base building is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, hello, I've been here for like 10 minutes. I'm just chilling.
How you doing, man?
Sorry, I couldn't even hear you, dude. I was like,
I'm sneaky.
because your microphone reverted, so.
Yeah.
Now you're at 200% again.
As I should be.
Yeah, Code's been trying to get me back into Diablo and we were like, oh, let's play. And then it's like, I'll get tired because after a long day, just like, all right. And so then I've done some, a little bit of, kind of dabbling within the game, like on the, via streaming, but like nothing where it's like, oh yeah, let me sit down and play for a couple hours.
Yeah, I get you. Anyway, how's final shape?
Yeah, how is the final shape?
I'm loving it.
That's good. That's good news.
It
Is it
got
back?
solid 10 out of 10s and 9 out of 10s across the board. From like literally every review site. So,
I think that's
at the very
something they
least, it's
definitely I'm looking.
pleasing to match.
So,
I'm looking forward to picking it up.
so as someone who doesn't take that stuff into account, as from you,
I mean, it's basically a checklist. They did everything right.
right? So like,
There's a new exotic quest which is being hailed as the best exotic quest, with the twist of it requires 2 people minimum. You literally cannot get into it solo, and the mechanics reflect that. So it's
I assume that divides the player base. Some people are like, yeah, that's cool. Others are like, no, I want to be able to solo it.
a little bit, but for the most part, everyone's on the side of this mission should remain as is. The only problem is the reward. And this is like the only real drama besides the server collapse, which like, duh.
Yeah, freaking like, there were people complaining, and I'm just like, how did you not see this coming?
Literally, like this happens every time in every game, but whatever.
Like any MMO, servers crash on launch day. Like, how
Yeah.
did you not? How?
That's
when it
why-
doesn't happen, it's a miracle. Like,
It's
come on.
also one reason why I'm not taking off work on the 18th. Just like nope. For PAX Day, I was like, no, I'm gonna play, but I'm not gonna spend my day like, oh, I'm trying to log in and whatnot. Like, I don't feel like that sounds like a fun way to miss out, use a vacation day, and later wish that I had that vacation day to.
the 18th.
Yeah, it's
PAX
Tuesday.
Day, right?
Yeah, PAX Day early access on Tuesday, and then early access for Dawn Trail on the 28th. I am taking a day off for that because like at least the last time that there were all those server issues, it was only if you weren't like already online.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, and it's so funny because so many people were like, you know, like, oh, you're, you know, don't attack the game. I'm like, guys, like the only issue I have with login queues, especially on a launch day, is when they kick you out of out of queue. Like if I can sit here and be like, oh, it's got 5 hours until it says that I can play. Cool. I'm going to go do other things. But it's like you had to actively monitor it for that entire time. And that was just absolutely unexcusable.
This like new, like, since like, I don't know, 2016 or whatever, like 2020. Like if you have criticism for something, you're attacking it. And I'm just like,
well,
what is this?
unless
like,
it's your side. It literally is the culture war as well. Like when you start like breaking down that,
right.
it's like, oh,
I'm not attacking it.
I would bet, I could bet I know what your opinion is on X, Y, and Z based off of whether you're like, oh, that's a fair critique, or oh my gosh, you're the worst thing since sliced bread. It's like, okay.
Man, I can literally, like, as a writer, I can literally tell someone's political opinion based on how they write a story. Like, no joke.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But other than,
But like, is it a satisfactory ending to the main Destiny? Like,
okay, see, that's the thing. I was like, I just was like, man, after the Lightfall, I was just like, you got like, I'm like, oh, so that's good.
Are we gonna have an FF14 situation where it's like most players are okay with it, but some are like, WTF is this?
I think that's always been the 14 thing.
I would say no, it'd actually be majoritively more positive than I think and Walker has become. You know, It's like on launch, it's hailed as the thing that it is, which is just fantastic, yada yada. But the thing that Destiny has is it is the best campaign. No, that's no competition.
Okay, gotcha.
It's focused. It knows what it's doing. You get to the end. It's a good crescendo. Like everything comes together the way you expect it to come together, but in the Destiny way of just like, this is some wild stuff happening. It's out of proportion. It's sick. The strangest thing to me is, I will say, the end of, and they kind of said this was happening in an interview a while ago, but the end of the game is not a campaign mission, which I think is the correct move, because it is a replayable piece of content. But the campaign itself, front to back, is amazing. There's literally only one actual thing that anyone's upset about. Not going to say what it is.
Is it a spoiler?
Even with that, they did it well.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm not going to say what it is, but like to a certain degree, it's something that we've actually rehashed in recent years.
Oh, good.
Not during Lightfall, but like there's some rehashing that has people scratching their head like, didn't we already do this? But like, it's fantastic though. Everything from the opening cinematic to the closing cinematic is as it basically should have been. They also handled Cade very well. Obviously, through marketing, everyone knows Cade is back.
Right. Well, we knew that was happening.
I don't know who Cade is.
I like that he's back, dude. Like that actually is like, I'm really looking forward to when I was like that's why I was like, I'm kind of glad that I've been able to sit this one out right at the start, because then when I do sit down and have time, I'm like, it's gonna be. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun.
I just know that it's Nathan Fillion playing himself as the former lead hunter.
Yep,
that's all I know.
Is it Cade 7 now though?
Is it it's still Cade 6.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And actually, the lore of him returning is from last season, so I can go over that if you like. But I'll even say that they do handle that in the campaign as well to remind everybody. Do you mind if I say that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, please. I'd love to hear it.
Basically, the ship from last season had a lore tab about Crow being deceived by Riven, as is pretty normal for the Destiny universe. Basically, as he's prepping to go through the portal first, because he was like our scout force into the portal of the Traveler.
Yeah.
He gets deceived by Riven, pretending to be Mara, saw of his sister.
Yeah.
And he does have his memories back now, so he knows everything Aldrin did. He knows of his connections with Marasov, but he's still Crow, not Aldrin. He basically reveals to Riven, pretending to be Mara, that he wishes he could tell Cade he was sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So, for all intents and purposes, Cade is brought back by a wish from Crow to Riven.
Okay.
But because of everything that's happened and him being a guardian, it seems like, because they don't really handle the why of it. They kind of just like state this lore card happened, and it's like, oh yeah, that happened, huh? Cool.
Cool.
But it is interesting how they handle that and how they talk about it, and I think they have a good vibe about it. But then a lot of people saying it's the best raid, a lot of people saying that we're currently on the best exotic mission. I will say I'm just farming the world content for fun right now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's great. This is good news.
Also
good.
farming red borders, but like everything, every individual piece of content is getting praised as one of the best.
Okay. Excellent.
Fair enough.
And the post campaign, just like side quests and stuff, are also very neat.
Yeah, the gunplay
So
in my
you're-
mind always just can't be beat.
So you're
Also,
So you're liking
Prismatic
it?
oh yeah, and Prismatic is astounding.
yeah, I've heard it's like borderline broken.
Yeah, the new thing is always borderline broken though, so I don't think it's gonna be a last
Yeah,
forever
that's-
thing. But obviously, this episode's like seasonal artifact is heavily weighted towards using, if not prismatic, then one of the other two subclasses.
I was gonna say it's an MMO. If the new thing isn't broken, that's a surprise.
Well, it also ends up
Yeah.
making it like, oh man, why do they spend all this time making this thing, and it's not fun, right? Like you don't. That's not the review that people want
Yeah.
with the new thing. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, it's new, and oh my god, and then it's like, okay, we need to tone it down. We'll make some adjustments once kind of that hype is worn off, because like, oh man, it's like, because gamers will immediately be like, I can't believe they spent this much time making this piece of garbage. It's like, yep, that's gamers, man.
What's up, you guys?
What's happening?
Is this Scrag? Scrag, my
Yeah.
friend.
What are y'all playing?
I'm playing some Diablo 4 right now.
Are you streaming?
Yes.
Yes.
We're on the MMO channel though. I was like, Ginger Prime loves MMOs. It seems like a good spot to.
I mean, is it technically an MMO?
I think technically.
Yes. Yeah.
I think technically, yeah.
That's what I was
MMO
like.
Lite.
Yeah, MMO Lite. I was like, all right. Same thing with like. I was like, all right.
Cameron, do you have me on Steam?
No,
Hey, what's up, Noctis? How you doing today, dude?
I don't think so.
And I saw
I'm easy
it's
to, I'm easy
Sonya.
to find though.
So it's always good seeing you, Sonya. Hopefully you're having a wonderful weekend.
My picture is Samus from Metroid Fusion, which is my favorite fusion. My favorite fusion. My favorite Metroid so far. I haven't played Dread. I have it. I just haven't opened it up yet.
Yeah. And what was that game? Like I have the Hades series and I haven't played
I
it.
missed the Figma launch of the Metroid Dread suit.
Yeah.
So annoyed. I have the Figma from Samus for Metroid Prime 3, but I don't have the Dread suit. Is pretty badass, I gotta say. It's good. It's like
I'm trying to send out as many invites as I can to unannounced Valve game.
unannounced Valve game. Is it Lever?
I cannot say.
I'm
Even if you get it right, I can't confirm.
I'm making a joke.
Should be careful. I'm not ready yet.
No, that's okay. I didn't get it.
That's fair. My brother and I, like when we get together, it's just like 90% of us just making dumb puns and dad jokes that like the rest of our family doesn't get.
Well, it's good having a brother.
I mean,
Hey, thank you for that follow over on Twitch. Appreciate you. Welcome in. How you doing today?
He has his
I need to come
issues.
up with like a introduction little what are the tokens, the rare drops or whatever for the channel points.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I need to come and like, hi, blah, blah.
Call them souls. I don't know.
Go to the main city and get my pet. Okay, where's the main city?
Cargo, I don't know. The one that's in like the Russian place.
Koskogograd.
The cat.
Kyovashad, that's it. Kyovashad.
All right, let's go to Koyovashad. Trying out Frostpunk, which is on PS Plus Extra. Gosh, yeah, dude.
Heard of Frostpunk? Didn't they come out with a sequel
Frostpunk
recently?
is so good. They're working on it.
Okay. So
They
it is
did just recently come out with the mobile
okay.
version as well, though.
Okay.
Which is much different from the PC game, but it's sick.
I mean, it's a different interface, so I'd imagine. Or is it like completely different?
It's just completely different.
Oh, so it might as well be a different game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
for what it's worth, I just use Cloud Play or like Steam Play from my phone, computer to my phone, and then I have a Backbone controller, so I get to play it normal. But
Yeah.
All right, where do I get my pet?
I have a Civ 6
It's the
game.
northwest
running with, like,
part
4
of town.
coworkers at work right now.
North, south, east, west.
Is this the new
northwest.
game that you're streaming?
Yes, but don't say its name or what it looks like or anything. I'm just
Okay.
showing you to see if you want an invite to it or not.
I mean, there's a lot of... Why is your character covered in turd?
You can't even describe the characters.
And why does it look like it's wearing a waffle?
Don't get him in trouble.
You can't do that. Stop.
Even if it's fake?
No. Yeah, I think sounds
Okay.
like they're serious.
They are
Alright.
very serious.
Okay, I'll... Alright. That's dumb. No,
Oh,
this is...
I received a pet. Equip your pet to modify their
Where
look
is
on their
this
wardrobe.
happening in Discord?
How do I summon the pet? Does he follow me?
I would be interested.
Do you have me on Steam?
No, but I can.
Add me on Steam. It's the same name as my Discord name.
All right, so I got that. So how do I summon my pet?
Your pet loots, right?
Does it? He loots? Oh, is he already here? Oh, he's here. Right? That's him?
What is... Wait, I'm just like examining this game. and I'm
What's
just
the
confused.
wardrobe?
I'm just doing a bot.
Pokeball?
I'm just doing a bot match because I don't feel like doing a whole real thing just to show it off.
There's a wardrobe looking thing
Yeah,
on here.
it's...
Is your icon like a lower half of a Pokeball?
Scrag.
Yeah.
Are you a bottom
What's
half of the
your icon
Pokeball?
on Steam?
There you go.
What, Yimrin?
Yeah, it looks like the bottom half of a Pokeball.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the Steam Deck logo.
Oh, that explains it.
Cool. Pet acquired.
But,
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate the assist chat. You guys are great. People are like, you know, like, oh, do you mind if I backseat drive? Like, drive, please. I don't get much time to game. I don't have time to be like, let me just figure it out myself. Like, no, man.
Chat help.
Yeah, hopefully get a, I want to get a, some more Elden Ring in this week. Where am I supposed to go?
huh.
I might finally get into Elden Ring this year.
Sweet game. Crap, I'm dying. I'm not even-
Honestly, the last Souls-like game I played was Code Vein.
How was that game?
I really enjoyed it. I heard mixed things about it.
Looked good.
I could see how they might have had pacing issues towards the end, and I have a feeling there is probably a pretty heavy bulk of story, like in DLC. Actually, I think I did beat it.
Was
I
it a
did
good
finally
story?
beat it. Yes, it was surprisingly short.
Oh.
But also, I never got to do New Game Plus or anything.
By
which I heard
surprisingly
was the
short,
better
is it like
experience?
Senuous Hellblade thing short? Like Hellblade 2 short, or?
Oh no, it still took me like a good dozen hours.
How much is the
I don't
game?
know.
40?
I got it for free as a giveaway through Twitch stream.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yes.
Wait, giveaway or like as a drop?
A giveaway.
Okay, cool.
Like from the streamer.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Neato burrito.
Should get a horse. Yeah, I don't think I've unlocked my horse yet.
Doesn't horse unlock like at the end of the game? I
No,
think.
it unlocks like really early.
Does it? Because I was like level 30 and I didn't get one.
I'm like I'm 38.
There's like a stable in the bottom portion of Kiovishad.
Yeah, but
actually, now that I think about it, maybe it is like halfway through. There gets to be a point where they really do have you running around a lot, and I feel like they finally get out of it too.
There we go.
I don't know. I do have one character actually running the campaign right now, but that was last season, so it's probably gone now.
Undersigned officers, request your leave to march on the capital at once.
Boom.
Let no one say that the Onyx Watch lacked the courage to fight for the steps.
You unlock it in Act 4, but if you skip the campaign, you get it at the. If you skip the campaign, you get it at the start. I don't understand.
So once you've beat it once, you can start new characters with
and you
campaign
just
skip.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I think something that Diablo does well is that between different characters, they do a good job of saying this is account wide and this is character bound.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think they have like a good enough mix that it's like, oh, I want to start a new character, and like it's not gonna jump you miles and leagues unless you skip the campaign, but even then there's like a certain amount of like early power you get that like really starts to pay off. Mostly just free skill points. Lots of free skill points. So starting a new character who already has like 10 skill points ready to go is really nice. Probably less than that.
Where are these other lieutenants?
I must wait a moment.
This guy looks like a lieutenant.
I must wait a moment.
Yeah, I think I'm on Act 3.
Just when you do the original campaign, you unlock it in Act 4. But if
Yeah.
you skip the campaign, you get it at start. Gotcha, okay.
Okay, can't get to there. Huh. Maybe I go up and then down in here. Oh, that looks like a portal thing that I don't know. Starting to feel the drive kick in. Oh, right.
Yeah, I get you.
Let me see if I can get this knocked out. Can I go in the door? No. Can I jump down or something? That'd be cool. But alas. This door doesn't do anything and can't get over there, so I guess I can't get into this area until I finished off all the lieutenants. There we go. These bandits show no respect for life, or we're not gonna free them. I guess they're dead or something. And in the upper left-hand corner of my screen that's off thing, it says reconnecting to Diablo 4. It's been saying that for a while. Like, I might be having some server
It
issues.
says that in the main client too.
Yeah. And it takes me out of the bounds of this quest. Alright. It is what it is. Whew. Alright, guys. It's been a long day. I was in the car for a long time, and I think I'm going to call it a night. And I look forward to hanging out with you guys this week. It's going to be a pretty freaking epic one. So if you were able to chill with me tonight, thanks. And no worries. We'll be doing some more of these here over the course, especially with the launch. I'm really excited about some PAX Day, but like I said, I'm not going to take off work for that. So, all right, guys, best of luck and good evening to all of y'all. Happy Father's Day to the dads out there, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next whatever I end up making. Bye.